Finished my line quality, and I wanted to show you, you can do some really nice stuff to add an image into the background. And let me just show you how easy this was to make. So this is, of course, the drawing I created with the line variation. And this is the original photo, right? So watch what I do with it. I'm going to take the photo. Go ahead and click on that. And just in case, I'll make a copy of it. So I'm going to take this layer, and I don't know if you just saw what I did. I option dragged it. If that's too many steps, you can just say edit copy, edit paste. There we go. And now I'll move this layer up here. Okay, so I have a copy of it there. And I'll lock this one, make it invisible. All right, so this is just junk. I'll get rid of that. So how do I go from there to this? Well, watch. So I take the photo, right, which I haven't bothered to reduce its opacity. I'm working on the layer that's not locked. That's kind of important when I do this. Otherwise, it's not going to work and do what I want it to do, and make sure it's unlocked. And then I'm going to bring up this image trace palette. So how do I get there? Go to Window, Image Trace. Okay. So I'm selecting the photo I want to use. And for now, just so you can see it, I'll put it at 100% opacity. That's pretty. And I'm going to tell it that I want to trace this image as a color image. And I have to say, well, how many colors do I want to use? You actually generally don't want a ton of colors. I think I'm going to bump this down to 10 just to show you what that looks like. And I'm going to hit preview. And there we go. Now, obviously, depending on the number of colors you have, let me show you. If I reduce this even more and go down to like, say, 5, which is significantly less. Let's see what that looks like. You can see it simplifies it almost too much in this case. I kind of like that. It's a different look. So you have to kind of decide what works best for you. So I'm going to bump this back up to, like, let's try 12 colors. And again, hit preview. There we go. And what I can do now is under advanced, like if I want more detail, and every single time you do one of these things, it's going to dramatically change your image, and it might take some time to process, so just keep that in mind. This one doesn't seem to be doing much to it. But anyway, once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and unclick preview and hit trace. And that is now traced. Looks pretty good. One thing I think I want to do, though, before I turn this in is I like this, but I think it's still a little bit, like, intense. I think I'd like to maybe reduce the opacity a little bit, and for some reason I'm having trouble finding the opacity setting up here, but all I have to do with this is if you go to Window, Appearance, let me bring this over, you can change the opacity here. So I'm going to go ahead and make it, like, say 60%. So that way, like, I just feel like I still see the tracing I just created. I still see those colors, but I also see those lines I worked so hard to create. So I think I prefer that. And something that's kind of cool about this is you don't necessarily have to have this line out perfectly. In fact, sometimes it looks a little better, I think, if it's a little bit misregistered. What I don't want to see, though, is like this, for example, like a big white line somewhere. That just doesn't look very good like that. But that looks pretty good. And then once I'm done, let me just click away. Then I would export that as a JPEG and turn that in. So that's the exercise. It looks pretty good, and you can see, looking at this, let me see if I have it up here. That's basically what we did with this piece right here, Tom's piece, is we created, created all that work using the line width tool first, and then of course went back in to show that off. So really the important thing is what the photo looks like that you begin with. So yeah, I'm going to let you guys work on that, and that's the project.